Hello, hello. It's the Mollykins. It's the Mollykins. Yes. Anyway, just a quick update video. And I've not really been making a lot of vlogs recently, but just thought I'd keep you up to date about what's been happening recently. So, yeah, got myself a new job. Can you believe it? So yeah, I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because it's quite a sensitive job. Um, but yeah, my last job, the contract got terminated because we're relocating to a different part of the UK. So we were all like laid off. Some of the people are still there. I think they've got to go. I think about 2 to 3 weeks time. Whereas I did the proactive thing and decided to get myself re-employed before we all had to go. So yeah, I had my interview, went well. Apart from the like, you know how to do like these psychometric tests and these like maths tests. Well, I just can't do maths, so I know I failed that. But I did pass the interview, did get the job. There was more than one candidate, you know, who applied, and I was successful. So yes, got myself a new job. So new start, new life, new everything, so to speak. So yeah, it's a brand new start for me. And you? And you? Is it a new start for you as well, Molly? Oh, it's a new start for Molly. It's a new start for Molly. Anyway, so today's topic of discussion is going to be based around, there's so much stuff that you see on social media these days. It's more like a video reply to something that I've actually watched on one of the major social networking sites, Facebook. And yeah, I saw this video on there about these two black women who were in America, sat there, I think in an Applebee's. I don't know that chain. We don't have them over here in the UK, but it's like a Wendy's or a Taco Bell. No, in fact, it was called Applebee's, but I think it's like one of their, you know, like in-house, cheap dining, fast food outlet places. I think more research needed. But anyway, this video that I've just watched was absolutely horrendous, where you've got this, I think it's like a mall, it's like a supermarket or a shopping centre security guard, or I think he's actually a police officer because he is actually in uniform. And basically, they get falsely accused of eating there the day before and not paying. Whereas he starts making all of these allegations, humiliating them publicly in front of everyone in the restaurant, and literally just belittling them and humiliating them and falsely accusing them. These girls have got it on record, by the way, so wise thing to do. You need to check yourself and get yourself that thing got on record when anytime anything goes down like that, you need to start recording it. To all of my fellow patrons in America, because I don't know what is going on in America right now. I really don't know. And I feel for them, you know, getting falsely accused of something. And then all of the Facebook comments are saying, oh, well, why are they crying? Why are they crying? It's like, you would cry if you were in that situation. You know, most of these people that are making these humiliating, debilitating comments have never actually gone through anything like that themselves to understand what emotions they would feel in that situation. You've got to actually go through the situation to understand how you would react to it. And even then, people react different to different things due to the situation that they are in. We don't all react the same. We are all different, you know. We are individual human beings. And they were just mocking her and saying, why is she crying? Why is she crying? It's like, well, if that happened to you, I would expect to see tears. If I didn't see tears, then I would question if, you know, if there's some element of guilt there, whether these allegations are truthful. That implies guilt. And all of these people in the comments are trying to persuade the public through their minuscule mindset that because the girls were crying on camera due to this humiliating fact, that sort of like takes away the officer's role and the involvement, like they shouldn't be crying, you know, he's got an investigation to complete. Well, do your investigation, go and check your CCTV, go and collect your evidence, go and collect your proof. When you've got that, come back and we'll have a chat. Let's sit down and talk about it. Because if you don't talk about it after you've completed the investigation, then the only time that conversation can take place is either in a police station or in a court. You know, they've got to actually have evidence of any allegation before they can actually prove that you were involved in it. You know, but no, straight in with the accusations. This waitress is running off, not wanting to be filmed, yet she's the one who's brought these allegations to this table, yet doesn't want to be filmed. Go and check your own film footage from the restaurant, the ins and outs, maybe of the cashier desk, maybe at the exits. Go and check that and see whether if there was any involvement with these girls at all. It's just absolutely a shame. I mean, it's one less crime, you know, than the police just shooting them on, you know, randomly. You know, because that's what they like to do in America. You know, especially when you're a person of colour. You know, they don't question it. They just draw the gun and shoot you. You know, so if anything, these girls got it lightly. They got off light with their life. You know, because, you know, they might not have been breathing. If it would have been a different state or a different area or a different situation or a different place. You know, if it wasn't a shopping centre, if it had been, you know, like a garage or a car park or, you know, a private place where there weren't witnesses. Who knows? You know, and that's the fear that these Americans have got to go through in today's society. I'm not sure if it's due to who they've got in office at the moment. I know a lot of these stuff was going on before he got in, but it just shows that practice is still commonplace over there. I just really, really feel for them. You know, when they talk about Black Lives Matters and I'm just seeing on my feed, it's not just that one, you know, it's a lot of things that I'm seeing about, you know, them locking up grannies, you know, the humiliating. I saw one yesterday, 9-year-old kid gets arrested by a police officer for playing outside. And you can see the police footage and he's arresting the child and handcuffs the lot. And it's like, how does that incorporate itself into society, into law in any country? I don't get it. I don't understand how these people are allowed to get away with it. You know, I think it proves to me, in my mindset, and this is just my own opinion, that slavery literally was never abolished. You know, the people have been demonstratized, they've been persecuted in an alternative method, in a different way, which is a psychological form. See, in that video that I watched today, it was the psychological manipulation tactic of, why are you being so aggressive with me? Why are you yelling at me? That's the type of things that they do just to quell that emotion, you know, just to, you know, to get you riling just a little bit, you know, because they know that they want to stir the pot. So they've got to say something to make you stir that pot. And that's when the situation can escalate. And that's when they can draw the gun. And that's when they can kill you. And you're still not cooperating. So we'll just slam you up. We'll beat you up in prison. What is it? I think 10 out of 10 black people in America go to prison at some point in their lives. Right now, I think it's something like 7 to 10% of the black male population are currently incarcerated. Like 70% of their male population are in prison right now. That's a really, really scary fact. And these statistics speak for themselves. I might not be 100% accurate with them, but go and research it, go and look up for yourself. You know, it's not something that they talk about in the mainstream media. You won't see these statistics. you know, being broadcast on BBC or Sky News. You know, that's kept well away because they just want to control the people. And I'm not saying it's people, not just black people per se as a certain demographic. I feel that poor people have it bad over there. I feel that people with disabilities have it really bad over there. Literally, if you're not a white rich person, sorry, the door's closed. Closed, you're not coming in. Basically, it's like an organised secret society where they want to look after their own. They want to, you know, in their tight, what do they call them? Those communities, closed gated communities. And this is in a country that, what was it? The segregation, the segregation. Basically, the civil rights movement was to prevent segregation. Yeah, what it did do, which basically happened in legislation and law, etc. But what it didn't do is actually happen in society. You know, they started building these gated communities, knowing that only certain people of a certain salary would be able to occupy those places. So one of the rich white people said, well, sorry, we're leaving the normal community and we're going to live in these segregated communities. That's what they should be called, segregated communities. No blacks allowed, you know. Why don't they put that on the sign outside? No blacks allowed. But, you know, to be fair, you do get a lot of successful black people in America. You know, you get all of the basketball players, there's the actors, there's the actors, Oprah Winfrey. The previous president was black. You do get a lot of successful black people. But on the same page, you know, you look at all of the different types of races over there, you know, it's a very, 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 I think it's the most diverse country in the world, genetically, apart from, I think, Brazil, I think. I could be wrong with that, but that's just my understanding of it. But it's a shame, it's a real shame for these people and what they've got to go through. So, if it was up to me, I don't know, I'd probably just want to emigrate, get out of the country, leave, come here to the UK. Not saying we have it great, but it's nothing like what it is over there. You know, our police don't carry guns and ammunition that can kill people unless it's needed. You know, at public events we've had, you know, some certain security risks that have happened recently in our country. So I do understand that the police are there to protect the public, and, you know, I think a lot of the police over there do get a lot of bad press due to the fact that you get just a few bad apples in the pack, and these few bad apples ruin it for everyone. You know, those police officers and law enforcement officers that are trying to make a difference, that are trying to protect the community and trying to protect the youth of today and to promote that value, you know. And I think they, you know, from their point of view, they do get the bad end of the stick. It works both ways, you know. But I think America really, really needs to evaluate its current society, especially when it comes to like racial profiling, detaining the detaining of certain population groups. It's equivalent to what happened to the Jews pre-Holocaust. You know, the Jews basically are persecuted for years, ostracized for years, had to live under certain conditions, were labelled, marked, and, you know, they were stamped. This is before they got, you know, sent to the gas chambers, you know, but everyone focuses on the ending as opposed to what happened before. And it was the before that most people would have endured that hardship, but never got. That story's still untold today because they were all sent to the gas chamber, so you didn't get to hear those stories or those tragedies. But we know from the history books and the academics that that's how they were treated, but we never get to feel the impact. So in my brain, what's happening in America resembles a lot of what was happening in pre-Holocaust Europe. you know, in the 1920s, the 1930s, anything after like World War One, pre-World War Two, that gap. And it was a really, really bad time in Europe, and I think a lot of things that are happening in America resemble that, you know, just as my own observation. So yeah, my little tip and advice is get yourself out of there, get out of America. You know, give go to the Caribbean, go to Jamaica, get yourself a good passport and a good visa, right, and get yourself out of that country, because, you know, it's gone as a population, when it comes to rising up and being able to create an impact and a difference for the youth, for the children, you know, the planet that we're leaving behind. One day we won't be here, you know, we've got to leave this for the youth, basically. And I fear for what that youth group has actually got to grow up in America. This is happening to the adults now. What they're planning for the kids? What have they got planned for them? You know, because all I see is statistics saying that, you know, 1 in every 7 black male gets detained, and it's heartbreaking. It literally is heartbreaking. So anyway, that was just today's little post. I'll probably be back on soon. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. If you've not watched the video, go and search for it on Facebook. I can't forget the girl's name, but I think it's gone viral. So if you've not seen it, you'll get to see it soon, and you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it really brings a tear to my eye to think that this is actually, you know, just happening. Not just to blacks, you know, all different ethnic minority groups suffer the same persecutions, and it needs to stop. It just needs to stop. That's all I've got to say. So let me know your views, your comments, your thoughts, what you think about it. Is it fair? Is it right? Is it wrong? You know, what needs to be done? We can sit here, we can talk about it all day, but what I was always taught, you know, if you find a problem, you need to find the solution. The solution's more important than finding the actual problem itself. So yeah, what do we need to do to fix this type of stuff that's going on? I'm sure it's not just America, it's probably other places in the world, but we don't have it as bad here in the UK. Not like we did back in the 50s, 60s and 70s, you know, like they used to, because we've got laws that protect us, you know, there's diversity laws, there's ethnicity laws, there's legislation, you know, people still suffer injustice, you know, there's a lot of silent racism that still goes on, but, you know, we have hate crime laws and stuff like that, you know, that protect people from, protect ethnic minorities and different minority groups, you know, gays, lesbians, people that basically just aren't the majority ethnicity group of that particular population, you know. We have laws that protect those individuals, and we have laws that actually promote well, not particularly laws, but these are principles. I think that our current Prime Minister is bringing into place, like a survey to establish exactly which ethnicity groups are treated and how they're treated, who gets social housing, the demographics behind it, all of the statistics. So it can be analysed and to see exactly how we're progressing. I think that's something that America needs to incorporate, is an actual national statistic database, like a sensor, basically, where it records everything that's currently happening over there, because we're just witnessing what people choose to post and what people think is relevant for us to see. What we don't see is what we don't see. You know, but that doesn't say it still doesn't happen and it still doesn't take place. Anyway, I'm ranting, so I am going to go. Say bye-bye, Molly, to the camera.